Hello, darling parents. Here is Naren from Wow Parenting with yet another FB Live on parenting. Right now, I'm holidaying. I am in Chennai um, on a wedding of a very, very dear friend. But I did not want to miss the opportunity to be with all of you. Hence, we have the Facebook Live even today. The topic that we have today is in continuation with a topic on how to help our children prepare very well for exams. And last time we discussed about certain study techniques. Today we are going to do it a little differently. Today we are not going to just discuss about study techniques, but we are going to discuss about three very essential points which will help the parents in helping the children do really well in their exams. So, point number one and thing number one is, how do I make studies interesting for the child? I had never realized the importance of making studies easy for the child per se as a concept. But I read a story by Pele long time back. Once Pele, when he was a child, he used to love to play football. And as he grew up, he excelled in football. And when he excelled in football, one of those days, a local club took him. And as I'm taking this Facebook Live with you, I'm very excited to share this insight with you that when he became an adult and as he went to play professional football, at the end of the match, he got paid some money. And when he got paid some money, he was flabbergasted. He was very confused. He was surprised. He asked his coach, "Do you mean I'll get paid to play football? I would pay money to play football." And paying to play football was stunning. And the coach said, "Yes, my boy, since you play so well, people are going to pay you money to watch you play." And then Pele said something which to me was an extraordinary point with respect to exams and parenting. Pele looked at his coach, nodded his head, and then said, "My mother always told me very seriously that sit and study. She would make a face as serious as this. Go and sit and study. If you don't study well, your future is doomed. You must study well, otherwise nobody will play with you. If you don't study well, then I'm not going to give you this. I'm not going to give you that." He said, "My mother used to make such a serious face and talk to me about studies as if it is a punishment. If only." Now, these are the words which changed my life. Pele said, "If only my mother had given me books in my hands and said, 'Go and play with your books.'" When it comes to football, she used to smile at me and say, "Go and play football. If I've done something well in my life, I've behaved well, I've done some work at home," then she would smile and see. And as a reward, she would tell me, "Go and play football." So when I used to look at her face and she would look at me and smile, say, "Go and play football," to me it would be like, oh, which means football is a reward. And oh, studies, looks like studies is a punishment. Sometimes, some of us, caught up in the daily life, make studies sound very intimidating, make studies sound very boring, make studies sound like something which is a punishment, make studies sound like something that I have to do whether I like it or not. Studies looks like pressure. Studies does not look like fun. I read about Leo Felice Buscaglia, and in his book, Love, he says, "Every day after my father would come back from his work, he would take all the children to the library at our home, and library was just one rack on the wall. He would take us to the library on the wall, and he would tell us, let's have some fun. Tell me which chapter in your books is exciting, and let's go and take a deep dive into that. So one of those days I told my father, I'm not able to understand anything about Asia. Geography is so boring. And my father said, wait. He took out an encyclopedia from the rack, opened up on the Asian subcontinent, showed me one tiny place over there called Nepal, and said, do you know, Nepal is the only Hindu kingdom in the whole world? Do you know this kingdom is right in the center of mountains? Do you know that Nepal is a country which is surrounded by so many other countries, and yet it has never been involved in war whatsoever? The king of Nepal once said, the only way to win a war is to avoid it. Nepalese people are so good. And the way Leo Felice Buscalia's father Tullio would explain about Nepal and mountains and culture and war, now everything to explain geography. Now, geography was no more a lesson on the boundaries of a country or the capital of a country or the soil which is available over there or what grows in the soil or the names of the rivers and the mountains. Nepal became a story. Tullio, for Leo Felice Buscalia, to make studies fun. Leo would say, my father expired, but the memory called knowledge is fun. Learning is fun. Understanding something is fun. And there is so much in the books. Every night before sleeping, I would read the books before I would go back to sleep. And I would read those books which are relevant to the studies that I am doing. My parents inculcated in me a vision, and the vision was study is fun. So one of those things which will help your children to study brilliantly well is not your expectations that beta you should score 1995, nor your fear that, oh my God, you are, if you don't study well, your future is doomed. None of these things. What he did was, studies is fun. So as parents, it is we who can give the perspective of fun in studies for our children. So let's go all out and make studies fun for our children. My dear darling friends, those of you who are with me right now watching this live, if there is a way that you know, if there is a way that you have by which you make studies fun for your children, please do share it with us. We would love to share it with the thousands of parents who come on the platform of Wow Parenting. Of course, I will also give credit to you, and we'll mention about you being so kind enough to share a little secret that you have. The second thing that I wanted to talk about studies is different children have different styles of studying. There is one style which is called the visual style. Now, these are children who can understand something when they see it. They have to see the teacher who's teaching for them to learn. They have to see the books for them to learn. They have to read it from the blackboard of their eyes to learn. You will find these are also the children who would probably put a finger under the line of the books and they would read like this. They would go like this. Studies is visual for these children. The second kind of children are children who are auditory in nature. They have to listen to what they have to understand. If they don't listen, they won't be able to understand. Now, they have to hear the teacher speak. Have you noticed that sometimes when your child is being spoken to, let's say when you're talking to your child, the child just puts the head down and listens to you. Now, you might be a visual person and you might say, look at me when I talk. And the child says, but I'm listening to you. Now, these are children who are auditory in nature. The teacher is teaching, the child might be looking outside, but its nature is auditory, so it's completely focused through the ears onto what the teacher is saying. These children are auditory in nature. Now, these are the children where when they're studying, they have to say it. They have to speak it loud. They might be walking around in the house and they have to repeat what they are reading loudly. For example, it can be like Ashoka was a great king in India. Ashoka was born to a very valiant father called Bimbisura. Now he has to say it loud. Even when they're doing calculations, so it could be 2 into 8 is equal to 16. Now they just won't read and write. They will say 2 into 8 is equal to 16. They have to say it loud. Second method of learning is auditory. These children have to listen. And the third is kinesthetic. Now, kinesthetic means they need an experience for them to remember. You tell them, they won't remember. They read, they won't remember. But they want an experience themselves. Now, these are the children, when they study something, they have to write it down themselves for them to remember. In fact, you as an adult might be a person where you are coming to my home and I explained to you, see, you come to Pune, you come to Koregaon Park, and from Koregaon Park, you go straight, and then you come to a bridge, you take the left turn from the bridge, 1 kilometer down, there's a place called Landmark Gardens, and I stay in Landmark Gardens. Now I say it, those of you who are visual in nature, you'll be able to see, and you'll have a recording of mine inside your head. Those of you who are auditory in nature, you'll be able to catch it through the ears. But those of you who are kinesthetic in nature, you would have to write it down. You might say, Naren, 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay, Pune, okay, Pune. Koregaon Park, okay, Koregaon Park. Straight down, okay, straight down. A bridge, okay, bridge. Turn left, okay. 1 kilometer, okay. Landmark Gardens, now I'll remember. If they don't write it down, it seems that they struggle to remember. So 3 kinds of inputs through which different children learn. There are a few other very small percentage of children fall in that category, so I'm not going into that. But more than 95% of children in the world belong to these 3 categories. What are these 3 categories? Let's revise, parents. Visual in nature, auditory in nature, kinesthetic in nature. By the way, why don't you share the Facebook Live with your friends who would love to have these insights and which you believe will help them in parenting their children. We would be very deeply obliged if you can also share it with your friends or other groups where you are members, so that the insights that we share with you free and open can reach out to thousands of people. In the post, you will also get a link by which you will get access to 14 small 2 to 3 minute videos on tips by which a child can be prepared beautifully well, specifically for exams. Please click on that, use that, download that, see those videos, and do let us know whether you liked it or not. To sum up today's discussion that we have had, number one, most important, if I can make studies fun, it's going to be brilliant. Point number 2, children have 3 different techniques. One technique by which they learn is visual. One technique by which they learn is auditory. And another technique by which they learn is kinesthetic. Now, these 3 come in various combinations. A child does not belong exclusively to one. So 60% of that would be one major quality. So let's say if I am a visual person in nature, I take in almost 60% as inputs through visual. 40% comes through the auditory and kinesthetic also. Similarly, all of us have a dominant style, and the other 2 are supplementary or support style for all of us. So find out which is the style of your child. Because if your child's style is, let's say, kinesthetic, and if your style is visual, you will want your child to learn through the visual technique, because that is the only style you know, and that makes sense to you. So when he writes everything, you might say, why are you wasting so much time? Why are you wasting so much paper? Why are you going so slow? Why can't you just read and understand? Oh, that is your style. That may not be your child's style. So just observe your child to find out what is their style, what comes naturally for them. and you have to adapt a little to allow them to follow their style, which is going to work with them. Remember, there is a giveaway which is there. Please do click on the giveaway, share it with your people, and enjoy it. And please let us know how did it go for you. I'm so grateful to all of you who turn up for these Facebook Lives. I'm so grateful that at one end we are committed to doing these Facebook Lives on Wednesday evenings, 9:30 to 9:45, 9:50. And if you think that the timing should change, please let us know. And I'm grateful to all those people who join us and who stay with us in the duration of the Facebook Lives. It makes it worthwhile to all of you. I think now my friends must be waiting for me to join them back in the marriage ceremonies. So I will say bye bye to you. And in case you have any parenting related observations, please do share with us. Wish you an exceptional time. Love you so much. And I'll see you next Wednesday for a Facebook Live yet again. Thank you so much.